Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Aryna Sabalenka's repeated mistake at Grand Slams expose her weakness ahead of US Open. Aryna Sabalenka's 2025 season has been a cycle of hope, heartbreak, and hopelessness. Exactly in that order. Winning a career-high 2 Grand Slams in a single season last year, Australian Open, US Open, the Belarusian had aspired to carry that same momentum this year. But that's easier said than done. Her heartbreak began in Melbourne this year, where an aim to complete a rare AO three-peat was snatched by Madison Keys in the final. Then at Roland Garros, she met the same fate against Coco Gauff. At Wimbledon, the heartbreak continued with a semi-final defeat versus Amanda Anisimova. What went wrong? Well, Serena Williams' former coach might have an answer. But to understand that, we'll need a little backstory. Notably, during Sabalenka's Roland Garros semi-final win, she had outplayed Iga Swiatek before things started unraveling with great force. The world number 1 lost her cool on court, yelling at her team and getting visibly frustrated as the match slipped away. Later in her post-match press conference, she didn't hold back. The 27-year-old insisted Gauff hadn't won the match, but instead she had lost it. She also blamed the windy conditions and claimed Swiatek, whom she had just beaten, would have handled Gauff better that day. A few days later, Sabalenka spoke again, but with a different tone. Making a heartfelt apology to the U.S. star, she said, "I've always been really good with Coco. I didn't really want to offend her. I was just completely upset with myself, and emotions got over me. I just completely lost it. I did what I did. I get what I deserve, I believe. It was a tough time for me. The lesson is learned. This time the emotions took over me. In the finals or semifinals, sometimes I can get over emotional. I would like to improve that." That very meltdown, according to Serena Williams' former coach, Rick Maci, speaks to a deeper issue. Talking to Polish publication Sports.pl, he said, "Aryna is the leader of the ranking, but mentally she competes with herself. She has always been emotional. However, when you experience everything too much on the court, you lose concentration, and then games and points. This is what I have seen several times this year, during her duels. Grass does not seem to be the best surface for it. On hard courts, however, she will remain the favorite, which every rival will want to beat. We'll see how she handles it." Unfortunately, that pattern of emotional spirals showed up again at Wimbledon just a few weeks later. Against Anisimova in the semifinal, Sabalenka couldn't keep her frustrations in check. There were screams, shrugged shoulders, and conversations with her box, but this time it looked more controlled. After the match, Sabalenka told the media that she had made a conscious decision to stay calm, especially given what had happened earlier. The 3-time Grand Slam champion said, "Every time I was close to completely losing it in start, I don't know, yelling, screaming, smashing the rackets, I kept reminding myself that's not an option. It's not going to help me to stay in the match and fight for my dream. I took a bit more time before doing my media just so I can be Aryna, not that crazy person on that media day at Roland Garros." But despite missing out on all 3 majors so far this season, Aryna Sabalenka isn't letting it define her year. Aryna Sabalenka is proud, despite Grand Slam drought. The numbers tell a different story. Aryna Sabalenka has won 47 matches, claimed 3 titles, and leads the rankings by a massive 4,751 points. Her place at the top is undisputed. However, she could finish the season without a Grand Slam title for the first time since 2022. Following her Wimbledon defeat, the Belarusian made it clear she's proud of her consistency and believes it's just a matter of time before things click again. The world number 1 said, "I think even though I lost a lot of finals, I lost tough matches at the slams this year, I still think that the consistency I was able to bring till this moment, it's impressive. Still a lot of things to be proud of. This experience shows that next year I'm only hungrier and angrier. These tough defeats help me to come back much stronger." Her next stop was supposed to be the National Bank Open in Canada, but the 27-year-old has decided to sit that one out due to fatigue. She'll next be seen at the Cincinnati Open, where she's the defending champion. That tournament will set the stage for her U.S. Open title defense. Last year, the Belarusian lifted her first major in New York by beating Jessica Pegula in the final. This time, she heads into the hard-court swing not just with a trophy to defend, but a point to prove. Can she defend her U.S. Open title and end her drought? The bright lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium wait in quiet suspense. In just a few weeks, Aryna Sabalenka will return to the unforgiving crucible of Grand Slam tennis, once again aiming to crack the code she has been chasing for years. Powerful, commanding, and fearless on paper. Yet when the stakes climb, when the pressure suffocates the baseline, a familiar script seems to unfold. Her repeated mistakes at the biggest stages in tennis are not just haunting memories. They are warning flares. As she sets her eyes on the 2025 U.S. Open, Sabalenka must confront the one rival that has followed her more closely than any seeded opponent herself. A titan with cracks. From a distance, Aryna Sabalenka looks like a juggernaut. A top-ranked player, with a blistering serve and hammer-like ground strokes. She routinely bulldozes opponents early in tournaments. Her ball striking is electric. Her physique intimidating. Her mentality, at least in theory, iron-willed. But as the tournament enters its defining chapters, the semifinals, the finals, the five-set thrillers or tight third sets, it's as though Sabalenka steps onto a tightrope with a storm brewing overhead. She has tasted victory, yes. Her Australian Open title was earned through grit and poise. But outside of that moment, her Grand Slam resume is pockmarked with collapses. She has led matches by a set and a break. She has dominated for an hour only to disappear for the next two. And when her rhythm breaks, she doesn't just wobble, she plummets. The pattern repeats, a case study in collapse. Let's rewind to the 2023 U.S. Open semifinals. Sabalenka faced Madison Keys, a dangerous player, but one she had beaten before. Keys stormed through the first set 6-0. Sabalenka looked frozen, passive, like the ghosts of previous Grand Slam meltdowns were whispering in her ears. Miraculously, she fought back and won in 3. But the final against Coco Gauff would tell the full story. With the crowd behind the teenage phenom, Sabalenka's aggression turned into recklessness. Her serve, so often a weapon, became her undoing. Double faults at crucial moments, missed forehands by inches, and mental lapses at pivotal junctures fed into Gauff's narrative. She wasn't just playing Coco. She was playing panic. The same issues cropped up at Wimbledon, Roland Garros, and most recently, in her stunning early exit at the 2025 French Open. Despite a strong clay season, Sabalenka faltered against an unseeded opponent, unable to adjust her tactics or temper her nerves. Tennis, as they say, is played with the mind as much as the racket. The Sabalenka equation, power versus precision. Sabalenka's playing style is built on dictation. She does not wait. She doesn't counterpunch. She imposes. Her best tennis is a brutal, beautiful display of offensive force. But therein lies the trap. When that style falters, she has little backup plan. Unlike Iga Swiatek or Ons Jabeur, who have mastered the art of improvisation, Aryna struggles to find gears beyond fifth. When her first serve vanishes and her forehand turns volatile, she often resorts to overhitting. Instead of resetting, she doubles down. It's a recurring flaw, not a lack of weapons, but a lack of tactical flexibility. And mental toughness is not merely about yelling "come on" after a big point. It's about adapting under fire, embracing discomfort, and staying present when your body screams to escape. Sabalenka, in many Grand Slam losses, has looked like a player trying to run from the moment rather than own it. What makes the U.S. Open different? New York is unlike any other tennis city. The noise, the crowd, the chaos, it's electric but overwhelming. For some, like Serena Williams or Naomi Osaka, the energy became a fuel. For others, it's a furnace that melts confidence. Sabalenka's 2023 run to the final at Flushing Meadows showed both sides of her coin, the destructive brilliance and the fragile psyche. Her return in 2025 comes with expectations, pressure, and a field hungry to expose her flaws. Gauff, Swiatek, Rybakina, and even outsiders like Mira Andreeva or Emma Raducanu all know the Sabalenka playbook now. Survive her first wave, stay consistent, and she might unravel. That's a dangerous reputation to have. The window is shrinking. At 27, Sabalenka is in her prime, Physically, she is stronger than ever. But tennis doesn't wait. The next generation is already breaking through. With every slam that slips away, the narrative tightens around her neck. Great talent, but not clutch. A force on tour, but not at slams. Can't close. These are the labels that once haunted the likes of Dinara Safina or Jelena Jankovic. And in sports, once that perception hardens, it takes monumental effort to erase it. The clock is ticking, not just on Sabalenka's career peak, but on her ability to mentally rewrite her own story. The hope within. Yet, to write Sabalenka off would be a mistake. Beneath the errors and exposed weaknesses is a warrior with unmatched potential. She has the game to beat anyone, anywhere on any surface. She has shown flashes of growth, improved net play, smarter point construction, and a desire to evolve. What she needs now is not a new forehand or coach. She needs conviction. She needs to walk into the U.S. Open not trying to prove doubters wrong, but to prove herself right. She needs to trust that poise does not mean passivity, and control does not mean cowardice. It will take more than talent. It will take humility, guts, and the ability to learn from her own scars. Sabalenka versus Sabalenka, the real final. When the U.S. Open begins, Sabalenka will face the draw, the press, and the pressure. But her fiercest opponent will again be internal. Can she serve under pressure? Can she close a set without flinching? Can she remain calm when the crowd cheers against her? If she finds those answers, New York might witness her redemption. If not, the same painful rerun may play out. Another tearful press conference, another headline dissecting what went wrong, and tennis will march on. Final rally. Aryna Sabalenka does not lack power. She lacks peace and pressure. To win the 2025 U.S. Open, she must stop chasing perfection and embrace persistence. Grand Slam tennis doesn't reward those who shine for a set. It crowns those who outlast out. The mistakes of the past can be her teacher or her trap. The choice, as always, is hers.